Another PlayStation 1 game has dropped on the PlayStation Network, which means it's time for another Platinum run. This time we're looking at an early PlayStation 1 game, Jet Moto. Jet Moto is one of the first racing IPs ever created for Sony Computer Entertainment, being developed by the studio known as SingleTrack. If that name sounds familiar, those guys were also the developers of Warhawk and the first two Twisted Metal games. Jet Moto is a racing game where you use hover bikes to traverse land and water on the 10 racetracks available. The game is full of advertising and sponsorships, with billboards featuring Nestle, and even some of the teams being real-world brands like Mountain Dew and Butterfinger. So if you thought that PlayStation only started the heavy branding with Subway and Uncharted 3, think again. With Jet Moto being released today and coming with a full trophy list, Platinum included, I figured it was time to start another Platinum journey to earn Platinum Trophy number 150, Jet Moto. The first trophy I decided to tackle was also the easiest one: practice 3 laps on any track. I also got 3 other trophies as well during this process. Those were finishing a race on the Joyride track in any mode, finishing a race after using all 12 available turbo boosts, and falling off your bike 3 times in any race. All of this was simple enough. I just made sure my racer fell down multiple times. I pressed the triangle button 4 times per lap to use up all of my turbo boosts, and I managed to get 4 trophies in one race. Up next was the Handbrake Professional trophy, where I had to finish a race without using my magnetic grapple. Throughout each course in this game, there are points in the track where you press the circle button to grapple your hover bike across a tight turn. If you time it right, it provides an easier way for players to make those tight turns without sacrificing too much speed. So for this trophy, I had to finish a race without using the grapple at all. So I went to the very first track in the game and did this trophy with relative ease. During this, I made sure to start a season mode, which thankfully only included 3 tracks, making this a short endeavor. On the way to unlock the seasonal winnings trophy for beating a full season, I also got 3 other trophies as well. What a mean checkpoint, which meant I had to get clotheslined by the dams checkpoint, and finishing a race on the Blackwater Falls and Suicide Swamp courses. The next trophy I wanted to tackle was the Team Player trophy, which required me to play as a rider on all 4 teams. During this trophy, I also made sure to be eliminated in the first round of a custom circuit elimination. Throughout the entire race, I made sure I was dead last, so I can pop both of these trophies at the same time. So I could have used a cheat code here instead of doing what I did, which was playing a season in professional mode to unlock all the other tracks. I did want to get myself more familiar with the game since it did take a bit for me to get used to the physics. I wasn't expecting this, but positioning your hovercraft really matters in this game. When you're in the air, you have to make sure your hovercraft is positioned in a landing state, because if you mess up like me, you're gonna crash constantly. But after a while, I did start to understand how I should be racing, planning ahead with my turns, learning how to position my hovercraft in the air, and learning the most optimal path for each course. Anyways, back to collecting more trophies. The next trophies I wanted to focus on were the rest of the racetrack ones. I had to finish a race on the Cliff Diver, Hammerhead, Cypress Run, and Ice Crusher tracks. As a nice bonus, I got the Jet Moto Enthusiast trophy for finishing 15 races across all game modes. Next up is another very easy trophy. Yeah, this game is full of them, I'll get to that later, but I had to win one race via the single race option, which was very simple. Then we have the circuit-related trophies. The Circuit Championship is like the classic Mario Kart circuits, where you gain points at the end of the race based on what position you finished in. A Circuit Rally is scored by taking all the finish times for each race, and whoever has the lowest score wins. And finally, the circuit elimination removes the lowest ranking racers per race until only a few riders remain for the final race. To make this trophy significantly easier for me, I set the championship and rally circuits to feature only one track so that I only needed to finish one race in each mode to get these trophies. However, for the circuit elimination, I set it to 2 races because I needed to outlast 8 riders in this mode, which I couldn't do in one race, and I needed that for a trophy. Now there's one trophy left, and it required me to grind just a little bit. I needed to finish a total of 30 races across all game modes, and in order to finish this as quickly as possible, I set the game to 2 laps in the options and replayed the Hammerhead track, by far the shortest race in the game. After I got that done, I acquired my 150th Platinum Trophy, Jet Moto. Before I leave, I do want to talk about the state of trophies for these PlayStation Classics. So you realize that these trophies are pretty easy, and it's like that for most of these PlayStation Classic games. It's like this because they want to incentivize as many people as possible to play these games. The unfortunate reality is that most modern gamers just don't care about old games that much. It sucks, but it's the hard truth. It's already a hard sell to get most people to care about these classic games, but if you add in a trophy list with a platinum, then you'll get more people to check it out. I'm not saying that adding trophies will make like 1 million more people play your game. I'm not saying that at all. But adding trophies will get more people to play your game than fewer. Make the trophies easy to get, and you have the incentive for some gamers to check these classic games out. Even Sony realized that adding trophies to these classics when they can is essential to get more people to play them. Not all the games at the launch of PlayStation Plus Premium had trophy lists. These include third-party games like Resident Evil Director's Cut, and even first-party games like Jumping Flash. At least Sony rectified this by adding trophies for their first-party games that didn't have them at launch. And I bet they wouldn't have done this if they didn't have some data in the back end that was letting them know that the games with trophies were being played by more people than the games without. As of right now, each first-party PSP and PS1 game has trophies. The third-party games do not, and unfortunately it's up to these publishers to add in trophy support, and all of them have elected not to, which sucks because I would definitely like to platinum games like Tekken 2 and Toy Story 2. I hope Sony continues to add in as many PS1 and PSP classics as they can. I am disappointed that the drops aren't as consistent as they can be. You never know how many games you'll get and for what platform each month. Sometimes you'll get like 2 PSP games and no PS1 games, or 3 PS1 games and no PSP games, or any combination of the two. I just wish the drops were more consistent. Anyways, I could go on forever, but I'll just end it here. Thanks so much for watching if you made it this far. The next Platinum Trophy videos in the works are PlayStation Move Heroes and the original Infamous, which I'm pretty excited to talk about. Thanks once again, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.